You ever have one of those days when you just want to disappear into the crowd? No recognition, no medals, no thank you for your service. Just peace. That's all I wanted that afternoon. After 10 years of service, 6 overseas missions, 3 scars that still burn on rainy days, and too many brothers buried beneath flags, I came home to something simple, a small town, a quiet diner, and a milkshake that tasted like home. The diner was packed with teenagers, high schoolers celebrating something or pretending they had something to celebrate. Laughter, fries, loud music, and the kind of arrogance only youth can afford. I didn't mind. I'd seen worse noise in war zones. But then he walked in. Troy Mason, local golden boy, football star, and self-proclaimed king of arrogance. I'd heard his name around town. His father owned half the shops on Main Street, and Troy acted like he owned the other half. I didn't pay him any mind. I just wanted to enjoy my milkshake and the silence in my head. He strutted past me, smirking at the waitress, tossing insults at anyone smaller than him. Then his eyes landed on me, a quiet man in a black hoodie, sitting alone in a corner booth. He grinned. "Hey, old man, that seat taken? Oh wait, you don't have friends, do you?" I didn't look up. Years in the service teach you something vital: you don't waste ammo on noise. But when I didn't respond, he decided to turn the volume up. I felt it before I saw it, the cold, sticky splash down my chest, the sweet smell of vanilla and chocolate dripping down my jacket. Gasps filled the diner. He just poured his milkshake all over me. Troy laughed, slapping his friends on the shoulder. "Guess we found our loser of the day. What's the matter, Grandpa? Too slow to fight back?" I slowly placed my cup on the table, wiped the milkshake from my hands, and stood up. The laughter died down. There are moments, quiet, heavy, almost sacred, right before chaos. This was one of them. And that's when he realized he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. I looked him dead in the eyes. He was taller, sure, a cocky 6-foot teenager pumped full of gym confidence and privilege. But he had no idea what kind of storm he'd just called down on himself. The whole diner went silent, forks frozen midair. I didn't say a word. I just took one slow step toward him. Then another. Dude, relax," one of his friends muttered. Troy smirked again, though I could see his throat tighten. "What? You gonna hit me, old man?" I smiled, but it wasn't the kind of smile he was used to. It was the kind of smile that soldiers wear when they've already measured your every move, your balance, your stance, your breath. "Kid," I said quietly, "I've been hit by rockets. You don't scare me." Laughter rippled nervously through the crowd. He shoved me, hard. My body barely moved. Years of combat conditioning taught me to absorb force, not react to it. His shove was like a breeze against a tank. When his hand touched me a second time, my instincts woke up. I caught his wrist, not hard, just enough pressure to remind him I was real. The way his face twisted in pain told me all I needed to know. "Let go," he gasped. I did. But not before twisting his wrist just slightly, enough to make him wince and stumble back. His friend stepped forward, nervous but trying to look brave. The waitress whispered, "Oh my God," from behind the counter. "Who the hell do you think you are?" Troy barked, rubbing his wrist. I looked at him for a long moment, then said, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." He sneered, "Try me." "Fine." I leaned in close enough for him to smell the faint trace of gun oil and salt on my clothes. "I'm a Navy SEAL." The silence that followed could have frozen fire. His face dropped, a flicker of disbelief, then fear. "Yeah, right, one of his friends said weakly, trying to save face. He's lying. Look at him. He's just some broke dude. Troy laughed again, but it was shaky now. Yeah, prove it, old man. I didn't need to. Because just then, the diner door opened, and in walked a familiar face. Commander Jacobs, a deep voice said behind me. It was Sergeant Miller, one of my old unit brothers. He'd moved to town last year, working as a police officer. His uniform gleamed under the diner lights. Sir, I didn't know you were back. The look on Troy's face was priceless, his smirk evaporated, his skin pale. Yeah, I said, not taking my eyes off Troy. Just came home. Seems I picked a loud welcome. The sergeant glanced at Troy, then back at me. Everything okay here, Commander? I looked at the milkshake dripping down my shirt and smirked. Oh, it will be. Troy tried to laugh it off. We were just joking, man. Just a prank. Don't call it a prank, I interrupted quietly. Where I come from, actions have consequences. The sergeant pulled me aside, but I shook my head. It's fine, Miller. I've got this. Troy's friends started backing away. Only Troy stood there, face flushed with humiliation and fear. Sit down, I told him. What? Sit down. Something in my voice made him obey. The whole diner was watching now. I could have broken him physically in seconds, but I wanted something else. Something better. You think you're strong because people are scared of you, I said. But fear doesn't make you powerful, kid. It makes you small. He looked down, mumbling. You walk around hurting people smaller than you to hide how empty you feel inside. I've seen men like you, on battlefields, in prisons, in politics. You know what they all had in common. He didn't answer. They all fell. Every single one. Troy swallowed hard, his jaw trembling. I tossed him a napkin. Clean it up. All of it. He blinked. What? You made the mess. Clean it. For the first time, his voice cracked. Yes, sir. And he did. Right there in front of everyone. The room stayed silent except for the sound of paper towels and spilled milkshake. When he finished, he stood up and whispered, I'm sorry. I nodded. Good. Now go apologize to every person in here you've disrespected. He did, red-faced, trembling, but sincere. When he finally left, the diner erupted in quiet claps. The waitress whispered, Thank you. I smiled faintly and sat back down. Miller chuckled beside me. You didn't even throw a punch. I looked at the empty glass where my milkshake had been. Didn't have to. A year later, I walked back into that same diner. This time, a young man in an apron was behind the counter, Troy Mason. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. Commander! I've been waiting to see you again. He handed me a milkshake, vanilla and chocolate, just like that day. On the house, he said with a genuine smile. I joined the Navy. Leaving next week. I took the milkshake, nodding with quiet pride. Good for you, son. Make it count. He grinned. Thanks for that day. You changed everything. I sipped the milkshake, looking out the diner window as the sun dipped over the small town I'd fought so hard to protect. Sometimes, the hardest battles aren't on the field. They're in places like this, with people who just need to be reminded what real strength looks like. And sometimes, all it takes is a milkshake.